Hello there, this is Mark Rivera from Genre Online Net on YouTube, and today I have a look at the book Alien Blueprints, published by Titan Books, written by Graham J. Langbridge. This is the price for US and Canadians and United Kingdom, okay? But you can get it for less money more than likely if you purchase it at Amazon or whatever your retailer may be. Let's take a quick look at this book together. It's a beautifully put together book as far as the artwork and stuff, and it's the blueprints that it's covered mainly all the films from Alien through Alien Covenant. I know some of you may say to yourselves, well, gee, I hate Alien Covenant or whatever. And then, that's your personal preference, and I'm not saying that I love Alien Covenant. There's problems with it, etc. There's problems with everything practically. But the reality is that it's all here in this book, and it's blueprints of all the ships and stuff. And I think that's pretty cool. And I was even surprised by that they also put this art in there as well, because it adds to it. Now, does Alien Covenant and Prometheus still count as far as canon? I don't know. I've heard mixed things. I think that for the television series, Noah Hawley is simply going to ignore it, but not discount it. And I think for the movie that's supposed to be coming out this summer, Alien Romulus takes place between Alien and Aliens, and as far as I know, I don't think it's going to reference the book either, the movie either. So you can see here, this starts with Alien, beautiful picture of the Nostromo, and I never realized that. I always thought the Nostromo was everything. Like my whole life, I thought the Nostromo wasn't just the spaceship. That I thought it was also the rig or the station or whatever you want to call it, the refinery, that it was tugging. And in this book, you find out what it's called, which is kind of interesting. And I'll tell you what it's called when I get up to it, because of course I don't remember, because I've only looked at this book once. But mainly my reason for doing this is because I wanted to show it all to you, because I think it's really neat. Now, the name of the refinery is the Cygnus. Okay, so you see it right there. And just look at the great detail. I mean, it tells you so many different things. Move a little closer. Sorry if there's a little bit of glare or anything like that, or shadow. I used to actually have more problems doing this type of thing when I used to do it by holding the camera with my hand. Basically right now I'm just using a selfie stick, and allows me to use my other hand more freely. So this you've all probably seen lots of times before. It's the Nostromo, and it's really nice that they make these blueprints landscape like this, because it gives you a lot more, like at first it might seem kind of cumbersome because you have to turn it from one way to another, but reality speaking gives you a lot more of a sense of scale and a way to really examine the things closely and read the pieces, if you will, without needing a magnifying glass necessarily. So, here's the Weyland-Yutani Corporation logo, or one of the logos. And, this has been available for a long time. So, I mean, this may not be as interesting as for some as it is for others, but I still appreciate the fact that it's included here, Like the back of the ship, I don't think I've seen that anywhere. And so I like the fact that you really covers in detail all the different angles. So let's go to the next page here. And you have interior of, I guess, the A deck. Okay. And then you have the infirmary, etc. And this is the stern section of the ship. And here's another look. Okay. And this is the midsection. There's the doors right there in the top right corner there. Okay. All right. And this is the Narcissus, the escape vehicle, emergency escape vehicle, EEV type thing. Okay. And this is the bottom of it. And as it look, you know, you get details on everything with regard to ships, and I love spaceships. That's my thing. Like, I have a friend who really likes robots, and I'm the opposite in terms of, well, he likes robots and I like spaceships. I don't think that's opposites, but nevertheless, I just love spaceships, and I've always been a fan of spaceships, you know, in the movies and that sort of thing. So I love the fact that you get these really detailed, beautiful blueprint drawings. Here's the interior. It's a great book, honestly. I really was surprised I didn't know this existed, because I usually keep up on this type of thing, but, you know, sometimes things just happen where you just, you know, you can't always buy everything that you want as much as you may want it. And two, sometimes things just slip through your fingers. Here, going back to this side, we go into Aliens, and for some reason, I don't exactly know why, but it chooses to go into the derelict in Aliens, and despite the fact that the derelict was more prominently featured in Alien, and for that matter, the version of the spaceship that was used for Prometheus, which is different only in the fact that they rounded it out so that they can do that rolling sequence, whereas the original was not a perfect circle. This is Syd Mead's final artwork on the Sulaco. It's beautiful. This is one of my favorite ships from the Alien universe, is the Sulaco. I like the Nostromo and I love the Sulaco. Okay, now here's blueprints of the derelict, and this is what I was talking about. The derelict, and this version of the derelict I think is damaged from time or from volcanic activity, but nevertheless the derelict here, as you could see, it's not a perfect circle, it's not rounded, so like if this thing was to fall like the one that fell in Prometheus, it wouldn't roll at you like a donut. But I'm kind of surprised that they put this in Aliens as opposed to Alien, because like I said before, this is a lot more featured in the original Alien movie than it is in Aliens. But nevertheless, it's okay. You know, I don't know how Weyland-Yutani would necessarily have this unless they had it to begin with from the original expeditions, because the ship and everything on that planet I thought was nuked. Here's the space jockey. Okay. And I prefer to call it space jockey because I think that a big mistake of Prometheus and even Alien Covenant was, it sounds good on paper, like, okay, it's a spacesuit, and I could understand how that could be alluring to somebody, but part of the thrill of Alien was the fact that you didn't know what this thing was. It left lots of open questions. Plus, the skeleton of the skeleton, well, I'm just going to call it skeleton, is much bigger than, you know, any engineer that we saw in Prometheus. So, you know, I just feel that that they didn't have to change things. I think sometimes when you try to over-explain things, you kill the mystique. Okay, this is the Armored Personnel Carrier, the APC. Okay, this I know a lot of you have probably seen. There's a Colonial Marines Handbook that's been out for ages. I don't own that personally, but it's been out for ages. And I'm kind of glad now that I held out for this, even though I didn't know it existed per se, because this seems to have everything, or at least everything that I would be interested in. And I have a ton of alien books. And it's not even because I'm a huge fan of one thing or another. I just, you know, things that interest me, I collect, and I have a lot of alien books since the original movie came out in 1979. So I realized that you all would probably want me to just pause so you could read, but as much as I would like to do that, this book is just too much to go through, and well, in my long interludes here talking, hopefully you can pause it and at least get a sense for what's, you know, being said or whatnot in the book. This is the Sulaco. Okay. All right. Technical specifications. Yeah, so pretty much from here on, you know, anything, if you want to examine something in this video, I highly recommend you just pause it, so that this is an open up section, but first I got to open up this part here. Okay. Okay, hopefully this doesn't look too out of place, but this is an open up section of the Sulaco, obviously. I would get closer into it, but hopefully if this is clear enough, you should be able to even do a screenshot off the video and just magnify it, that sort of thing. I mean, this is really meant to give you guys a look at the book itself, not to, like, you know, go through every little thing about the book. You know, and it's really a look at, I mean, I could tell you right now, as far as the review is concerned, I love this book. I think it's well worth it, okay? I love the fact that it gives you all these notes. I like the fact that it's so super detailed, and I love the quality of the blueprints, etc. I mean, I think that they've done a phenomenal job. And here's where the drop ships are located. Okay. Including the names of companies, I guess Lunar Wesson for the Constantinople class. Anyway, obviously there's a lot of fictional or real companies that have been brought into the future of this alien universe that make stuff just like they would in, you know, in real life. The U.S. military has many outside vendors that basically, you know, bid on being able to provide the military with all sorts of things that they might need. And so, you know, you have your things that are developed by the government itself, and then you have your commercial products that are built sometimes by other manufacturers that work with the government, but not necessarily are connected to the government. And basically, so, you know, it's kind of like, that's the reason why you have government contracts and stuff are very valuable things to have, especially if you are, you know, in a business like providing things for the military, or in this case, for the Colonial Marines in the Alien universe. I wonder if they will update this to include the new movie. they might, you know, it all depends. I mean, it all depends, one, on how successful the new movie is, and two, will they want to wait for the Noah Hawley produced television series, which I'm actually more excited about that than I am the movie. They're both kind of set, though, at different time periods. And I'm actually more interested in the Noah Hawley series because I'm a big fan of the television series Fargo. And it's an anthology series, much like a lot of anthologies like True Detective or not Masters of Horror, but American Horror Story, where each season is its own, you know, self-contained story, but they all take place in a kind of larger universe. Great job capturing that with Fargo. And the television series, I mean, the most recent season was pretty cool. Better than some of the seasons that have come before it. And he's been managed to put a lot of interesting things into that. So I'm interested in seeing what he comes up with, because I think he's a really good writer, showrunner, etc. Okay, now this is the Hadley Hope's Terraforming Colony. I never thought I would see something like this. Normally I do things at a different location, but for this book, being the nature of what it is, I just felt it'd be easier to do it on the kitchen table as opposed to where I usually do my reviews from, etc. It's really nice. So it gives you a sense like this is where, you know, you see scenes from the ground level, where you see people in the windows, etc. And it really gives you a nice sense of just the detail. I mean, this is a book that it's more than just the spaceships or this is what it looks like inside. I mean, here's the atmosphere processor. I've never seen this in a book before, gone into this much detail. You know, it's amazing. Okay. So next page. All right, and this is the Terraforming Colony interior. This is the medical laboratory module. Okay, MedLab. All right. Operations. Another view of MedLab. The corridors. This is interesting. This is the all-terrain commercial tractor. If you're a big Alien fan and you just love the whole look of the universe, and it's really a different variant on the lived-in, you know, universe that Star Wars had. That was in contrast to like what you would see previously in films like, you know, 2001: A Space Odyssey, where everything seemed a lot more antiseptic and clean, or even the television series Space 1999, Moonbase Alpha was, you know, or at least it appeared to me, based on my memories of it, to be very much, you know, a very clean, antiseptic place. You never really got a sense of wear and tear on the station, despite the fact that the premise of the TV series is the moon was knocked out of the Earth's orbit, and somehow, this is now we're going into Alien 3, somehow, everything, is in relatively good shape. But, I mean, who knows what this, the scientific accuracy of that show is, they have artificial gravity in the Alien universe, so sometimes you just got to suspend your disbelief and go with it. That's what I'm basically trying to say. But yeah, I mean, Alien offered an alternate view of space travel, and that was, something that I think was more relatable and believable than what Star Wars presented, because Star Wars is more of a fantasy. It's a storybook type of thing, whereas, at least in its original incarnation, it was described kind of like a fairy tale. And I remember when I was a little kid hearing that. This is the EEV. Okay. I remember as a kid not wanting to hear that because, I want to think of Star Wars as science fiction. But then you realize as you get older and you learn more about science fiction that at best Star Wars is space opera. It doesn't mean you can't have science fiction stories. Sometimes you have television shows like Star Trek, for example. Star Trek crosses the line between science fiction and sometimes space opera storylines. Star Trek in some ways can do more with its type of storytelling than Star Wars has, because they may both take place in space and have lots of fancy effects, etc. But in the end, they're very different types of things, despite, some of the things that J.J. Abrams put into the original Star Trek movie from 2009 that, made it a bit more action-y, as opposed to, if you compare it to Star Trek The Motion Picture, which is a lot more, of a straight science fiction story that, ironically enough, is kind of not 2001-ish, but it's a serious story along those lines. Of course, Isaac Asimov was a consultant for that movie, for Star Trek The Motion Picture, and it shows by, just the ideas with sentient machines building this giant, I don't even know what to call it, to tell you the truth, but sentient machines building something for the Voyager satellite, and then to allow it to complete its mission. And of course, I guess whatever happened, whether they took it too literally, or whether the Voyager satellite in its enhanced form took itself a bit more seriously than it should have, it becomes almost a threat. It does become a threat, because it literally copies everything that it sees into its memory, and it does that by quite literally, like, it looks like it's disintegrating something, but I don't really know what to call it. It's just, it sort of takes a plasma beam or something like that, that at the same time as it disintegrates the ship, it also stores what the ship was in perfect detail inside. So anyway, this is inside the mineral ore refinery penal colony that was decommissioned at the time of Alien 3. And now we're going into Alien Resurrection. So that's the Betty. I think Alien Resurrection gets a lot of people that they hate it. And I don't think it's a bad film. In fact, I find good things about all the movies. And I prefer the work print cut of Alien 3 over the theatrical cut, although it's a bleak movie in any way. But the whole Alien universe is a very nihilistic universe. But the only thing I know that's more nihilistic than the Alien universe would be the Riddick universe. And I've spoken to David Twohy about it, and that's by design, so you see how in Alien, the Alien movies, characters are introduced and killed off in between movies, and and it's very disorienting. But in Riddick, it's even darker than that, you know. So, this is blueprints of the Betty. Okay, and let's see. I guess Mantis was the maker of this ship. Okay. I always like this thing here. I'm thinking this is like a fusion ramjet or something like that. Thinking it takes particles in and probably uses that to, you know, for energy. But I could be wrong, of course. I mean, I'm just guessing. I like these kind of tiger patterns. I don't know. I don't remember seeing them in the movie, but, you know, there's a lot of things that just because I don't remember it doesn't mean it's not so. So either way, I mean, we could also be looking at what the original plans for the Betty were, because obviously the Betty has been through a lot. It's a very old ship. I mean, Ripley 8's description of it is saying it was old, you know, when she was young, meaning her original self. Here's the United Systems military medical ship, the Auriga. This is where everything goes to hell. And, you know, now we go into Prometheus. Okay. And I've seen some blueprints from Prometheus. And some of this artwork you can see in the art book, the art and making of Prometheus. Okay. But now, in really big detail, you can examine Weyland Corporation's Prometheus. And this ship is supposed to, you know, even though it's earlier than Alien, since you know, spoilers, Weyland is on board, and this is like $1 trillion mission or something like that. It has the best of technology that would be available, but when you get to Alien, it's not going to necessarily have the best of technology for a variety of reasons. But basically, I'd say a big one is because none of the big Weyland-Yutani executives that make the big decisions are aboard that ship. So, from this point of view, the engines look almost like they could be wheels for some reason. It's just the round quality. This is the rear of the ship. Okay. Now, I tell you, if you get this and the Weyland-Yutani report, among, you know, some other books that I think I would recommend, but if you just had those two books, you'd have a pretty good look at the alien universe without going deeper. I mean, obviously, Geiger's got a fantastic, there's a book called Giger's Alien or Geiger's Alien that goes into, you know, the design of the creature. There's the Alien Vault that you can buy. Of course, there's David's drawings from Alien Covenant, and then there's all the art books for like both Prometheus and Alien Covenant. And even the Blu-ray discs have these extended galleries, as well as even the original laser discs that their galleries are included on the DVDs and Blu-ray discs that have been released. All that content that's out there is all worthwhile. In fact, I'm not even sure, in hindsight, if any of that content has been carried over to the digital copies that you can get on iTunes, etc. Okay. So here's this type of vehicle here, and this is the other, this is the ATV, I believe it's called. And this is the thing you see David driving around. It's sort of like a little tractor type look to it. And then finally we come to Alien Covenant. Okay, so here's a early art book, artist conceptual art for the ship. Okay. Now, even though they may have holograms on board and stuff, there is a certain downgrade between what you saw aboard the Prometheus and what you see on aboard the Covenant. The Covenant looks a little bit more like the technology of Alien. Now, this is the landing craft. Okay. And now we have the blueprints for the lander. And yeah, it's a nice touch that they include all this, because I mean, again, I haven't seen this elsewhere. The interior. This is really, I mean, I didn't expect it to be this detailed. And again, like I didn't even know this existed until I saw somebody make a post about it. They bought it off eBay. And I was even surprised that they bought it off eBay, since you can get this in hardcover form easily at Amazon for cheaper. This is the cargo lifter. This is the one with the little cockpit or, you know, driver's thing over here. We got looks at the Covenant, front, back. There's the solar sail, or really, solar sail might not be the right word for it, but let's just call it the sail. There's the Weyland-Yutani logo again. And here is the blueprints for the interior. This is like the bridge area. And so forth. Now this opens up, and now we get a really nice view of the Covenant from different angles. So I'm going to just hopefully give you all a great view of what it looks like. Okay, and now this is the other side of that open, pull open section of the book of the Covenant. So basically you get the double-sided fold out of the Sulaco and the Covenant in this book. If there is something else, that means that I may have missed it, but I don't think there's anything else. It's always possible, but you know, but I don't think there is. So this is they call it the nursery. This is where the hanging, where the colonists are. And cryogenics depart, the cryogenic area. Okay. And again, this is where the colonists are. And then here's the afterword. The quality of the book is really commendable. I think the sketches and the inclusion of photos, as well as conceptual art mixed in with the super detailed blueprints, make this a real no-brainer for purchase for super fans. But since this book did come out in 2019, there's a good chance that if you're watching this video, or if you come across it, that you may have already seen it. Nevertheless, if you haven't purchased it, I do think it's worthwhile. I really, you know, really truly can't emphasize that enough. For the amount of money, yeah, it's kind of pricey, but not as pricey. I've seen books that offer a lot less that are sometimes pricier. It has a suggested retail price in the U.S. for $44.95, in Canada for $59.99, and in the United Kingdom for $29.99. It's published by Titan Books. It came out in 2019. It doesn't have this is the cover itself. There's no like paper cover or book jacket or anything, which is fine because sometimes book jackets get all messed up, etc. But overall, that's it. So this has been a lengthy but thorough, hopefully, look at the Alien Blueprints book, Alien the Blueprints book by Titan Books, and the authors is Graham J. Langridge. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. And I appreciate your time and consideration. And I'll see you all in the next video. Thanks again now. Bye-bye.